So we don't need to
No.
be on the mic then.
Oh, we actually don't. That's sufficient enough to pick us up. We don't
Yeah.
need to actually hold it.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay.
All right. We live? Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to the Need for Speed the Run live chat. We've got executive producer here, Jason DeLong. Brian Lindley is one of our online producers, and they're here to field your questions for about, we got 30 minutes you guys' time today?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we got a whole bunch of questions lined up, and I'm going to pull myself out of frame just because we want them to be the focus. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Cool. You guys feel free to adjust that if you'd like.
I think we're pretty good. Let's just take a look here. This way a little bit. Down a little bit. There we go.
Oh,
All right.
Excellent.
Gorgeous.
Excellent.
That looks fantastic.
All right, maybe talk a little bit about the, before we get into the questions, just what it was like to launch the run.
Yeah, it's been a great week. It's been we came out on Tuesday in North America and just been seeing the reactions from the community has been really rewarding. We just had finished a play with the dev thing for the last couple hours, so it was the first chance to really get out there and play with a lot of people online and realize how much more practice I still need because you guys are pretty damn good. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's been a long journey to get us here, and we're really proud of where we ended up, and yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so we got some questions lined up for you guys. We're gonna get right into it. We got about 6 on hold right now. So let's go with what gave you the idea to create the run?
Wow.
In the Need for Speed series. Let's kick things off with a good one.
That's a big question. I mean, I think the idea of a cross-country road trip is one that's a very kind of romantic idea and one that we've never really explored in Need for Speed before. So that was something that was really the heart of it was just that idea, that romantic idea of the cross USA journey. And then obviously wanting to make it more than just a road trip where you stop for Cheetos and stuff. We actually had to put some motivation behind it. So the idea of the story unfolding about Jack and the cross-country race kind of unfolded from that. But it really started with just that kind of cannonball run, gumball rally, romantic ideal of racing across the U.S.
Yeah, I think we also wanted to do something that people have never seen in a Need for Speed before, and this seemed like a pretty good idea in terms of just doing something that nobody really would expect from Need for Speed. So in that respect, I think it's really paid off in terms of a gamble for the game.
Yep, definitely.
Cool. Next question is how is the PC patch coming along?
So yeah, sure. We're collecting a lot of feedback from you guys, the community, to see what issues you're having, and we're kind of queuing up a list of fixes that we want to make. Obviously, we don't want to rush it too much. We want to make sure we get as much information and fixes queued up as we can before we go through pushing the patch out. So we're still in the early phases of kind of figuring out all the changes and fixes that we want to put into the patch on the PC. But keep your feedback coming. We'll keep our ears open and hopefully we can address a number of issues if there's a lot out there.
All right, cool. Next question is how many driver levels are there in the run?
There are 30 driver levels as of right now. I actually raced against one person today that is at level 30 already. I myself am at a level 12. Brian, where are you right now?
I'm just hit level 20 today. So
impressive.
I'm on my way.
The secret to leveling up, as I've discovered, is play online. Play online. Play
in a group too.
Yeah, get some friends in a play group and have at it. The XP will flow.
Indeed.
All right. Here's a little bit more of a technical question, and they ask, I'll have to expand this for a sec. In the PC version, the frame rate is locked at 30 frames per second. Is there any chance that the cap will be removed and allow gamers on PC to run at higher frame rate and see the beauty of Prospect?
Yeah, I mean, as we just talked about in terms of the patch items that we're looking at addressing, I think really the patch is based on what people want and what they're asking and what is possible for us to do technically, and I think there's a possibility that we can see the cap removed in a patch. Can't confirm that at this point, but that's definitely something that we're paying attention to.
Okay. So I'm just looking through all the other questions, so I'm going to try to keep the questions flowing here.
Any mustache questions coming in yet?
No, not yet. Nothing about the mustaches.
All right.
Maybe we get a call out for why we're doing it.
Movember, baby. It's all about Movember. Here at Team Need for Speed, trying to raise as much money as we can for prostate cancer research, men's cancers, mustaches. I'm actually sure Drew will probably post the there's a website for you can donate and stuff, so yeah, it's big. So yeah, please donate.
We'll get that up there right after.
That's our sales pitch for the half hour.
All right, so I got a good question here. Do you have any plans to have players as cops online?
So we're actually starting to really think about what we want to do, kind of in terms of post-launch content for the run. We know that people really enjoyed in Hot Pursuit playing as cops and battling with the racers. It's certainly something we're going to give consideration. I can't obviously confirm that or commit to us doing cop stuff online or not. For those of you that have played enough multiplayer, you might have unlocked the Ford Interceptor, which is really crazy fast, by the way. So you can play around as cops, although it's not necessarily busting people. You still got to try to win the race. But it is definitely something we're going to be looking into in terms of how do we expand the multiplayer experience down the line, how do we add things and add more variety to it as we go. And cops is certainly an option.
All right. The next question is, why isn't there free roam in the run, and why isn't there customization in the run?
Well, I'll start with the second part first. There actually is some customization in the run, as you'll see. If you are in the car select screen, cars that are not signature or custom editions, you have the ability to select new kits for them, and once you select new kits for those cars, you can then select different paint liveries, which basically give you a modicum of customization, more so than you saw in Hot Pursuit at least. We don't have full customization. You know, it's a technically very difficult feature, and as we move to Frostbite 2 for the run, there was only so many things we could bite off, and customization was not one that was fit into the technical plans for the run. You know, is it something that we've abandoned as a brand for Need for Speed? I'm definitely not going to say that, but it's just something that didn't fit in technically for the run. So, and as far as free roam, you know, I guess the easiest answer is we didn't build the whole U.S. So you know, the idea is that the whole idea of the run is that you know, it's a very scripted point-to-point race from one coast to the other. It's not a branching sort of take whichever route you want across the U.S. And free roam really lends itself to exploration of an open world, and the run is not an open world. The run is a fairly linear race by design. So that's why you don't see free roam in the run.
Okay. Next question that we have is, oh, you guys already touched to the downloadable content already, so I'm gonna publish that one. Is there going to be a patch for Xbox? And we can give a quick answer to that, because yes, there is. It's already out.
Well, there's a patch at day one, absolutely, and much like PC, you know, we have the opportunity to listen to feedback and make improvements as we go forward, and if we feel that there's a sufficient desire for us to make some fixes or changes, you know, then we'll certainly look at them. But no confirmation at this point.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like I mentioned before, as we're looking at how we're going to expand the game experience after launch, we're generally going to need patches to make that happen, and there will be fixes and improvements that will come along with any patch that we do. So every platform is going to get them. Customers should be aware that our timelines are a little bit different compared to PC, compared to like PS3 and 360. It can take a little bit of a while for us to create a patch and then have it get through the process with Microsoft and Sony, and ultimately in the hands of you guys. But we try to get those things done as quickly as we can so we can get that process rolling and get that sort of lead time taken care of.
All right, cool. This is an interesting question just because you guys were talking a lot about the inspiration about the run, and I guess this is the way he structured it is not quite the question that I want you to answer, but it's, if you could have developed another game, what would it be and why? So yeah, so we finished the run. It's a great game. It's a great story. What would you want to build next? It's kind of what I would like to get out of this question.
Oh boy, you didn't tell us every challenging question.
Yeah,
that's just going to be stuff we already knew the answers to. You know, it's the nice thing about Need for Speed and working on Need for Speed is that it's a pretty broad category. I mean, Need for Speed as a brand is pretty massive. I mean, you've got obviously the more story-based type of action movie type of Need for Speed, like we just finished with the run. You've got, you know, the more arcade type of game like you see with Hot Pursuit. You've got the Shift series, which is more simulation. So really, the potential for what we can build is pretty far-reaching. I would be foolish and probably be putting my career on the line if I were to start admitting some of our design ideas that we've got to take where we're going to take Need for Speed next. So I have to be fairly cagey with my answer on that one, I'm afraid. But you know, the nice thing is that, you know, we work in a pretty dynamic and exciting world, and the potential for what we can do going forward is getting more and more exciting. So
yeah, I think what interests me is how do we get more out of the Frostbite engine. I think everyone's seen some awesomeness and the potential and what it has and what it can do. So that'll definitely be something that we start thinking about moving forward, is how can we take more advantage of what the engine is capable of. How do we make it do more and more things to really create unique and surprising and awesome action-packed Need for Speeds.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. I'm just going through my questions that I put on hold. So I know that
I think we may have not paid our power bill here at EA.
Oh, I just shut off and turned back on? Yeah, that happens a lot around here.
Go buy more of the game, guys.
Yeah, we need power.
We're going to keep the lights on.
So you guys had touched briefly on customization, about why we didn't do it. This question is pretty straightforward. Any chance of an update allowing you to get customization?
I can be fairly certain that you won't see a fully personalized user customization system in the run. It really is a huge investment technically. It may seem simple, but it really isn't. The rendering and just the work that's involved in creating a really robust and dynamic customization system is not an easy one. It takes a lot of time to develop. So
yeah, I think if we're going to tackle that, we want to make sure we do it right and give the players all the options that they're going to expect out of a system like that. In terms of tuning itself, I think, as you guys have seen with like multiplayer, the way the vehicles are balanced, it's actually, there isn't a lot of imbalance that I've noticed in terms of really feeling like I need to, tune the gears and really to keep up with everyone else online. So I love the fact that our vehicles are all tuned to be relatively equal, at least in terms of performance. You need to be a bit smart and strategic about what car you choose for which tracks, obviously. Yeah. But again, it's something that I think really keeps the racing exciting. Opening things up to tuning could lead to a little bit more imbalance than we'd want. At least in terms of the multiplayer experience. So it's one of the things that we really have to balance. And again, I think we really would want to give it the effort and the time to do it right for you guys when you do bring customization and tuning back.
Yeah, and it's a good question for to know from the community maybe going forward as we look at Need for Speed. Is when people talk about customization, what are they talking about really? Do they want their cars to look different, or do they want to actually do full performance tuning on their cars? So, obviously in a shift that means one thing, but in an arcadey action type racing game, is it more about how your car looks, is it about how it performs, or is it both? And what are people interested in? So we're interested in learning from the community as well, and taking those ideas forward with us. So
cool. I like that. All right. Here's one question, and they're asking just basically about. Part of the question is about customization, which we've already answered, but the first part is how many total races are there? And I think that we can speak to this, just speak to how long it takes to finish the run.
Sure. Yeah. If you play through the run, there's 10 stages. Each stage is comprised of 5 to 7 races in each one, all of varying lengths. So, if you want hard numbers, you're looking at around 65 challenges or so within the run itself. The average playtime we found, even with the kind of the best guys on the floor here, is about 4.5 hours to finish the run the first time. Thanks to Autolog, though, we encourage you to play it multiple times. That's 1/3 of the game. The next third of the game is the challenge series, which is unlocked by completing stages in the run. And there you've got, what is it, Brian? 11, 12 different?
I think we have one for each stage, plus limited edition, so we have 11.
and plus the pre-orders.
Yeah, so we're
15? There's like 15?
We're in the teens. We're definitely in the teens.
Yeah, there's 70 plus.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, we clocked it at over 70.
Yeah, so that's another, you're looking at another 5 hours there. So now you're about a 10-hour single-player career, not including replay for Autolog. And then, of course, as Brian will speak at length about, if needed, the multiplayer playlists.
Yeah, so we have, I think, 85 or so unique race routes that we use in the multiplayer experience. And we have all those collected up in sessions. As you guys have seen, you get to vote on what the next session of races is going to be. And we remix them and we jumble them up to make sure that the experience has a lot of variety. I think we have around 70 of those unique sort of sessions themselves. So it's a lot of variety. There's a ton of races in the game. We drive basically every direction on every track that we've built. We pretty much get a use out of every single sort of yard and foot or an inch of road we have in the world to race on.
Yeah, and And of course, Autolog, for those that have a few friends that are playing the run as well, you'll very quickly learn that the most addictive and replayable part of the run is the Autolog. So retrying a challenge because your friend beat your time, or trying to become a stage leader in the run, it becomes very competitive and very exciting. Yeah. So it's the gameplay really, you can't put the time on how long it takes to finish the game, because the game never really finishes.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Here's an interesting question. How hard is the extreme difficulty?
I can't finish it.
It's pretty hard, I think. I've never had the guts to try. Yeah, I don't know.
We got two guys on our team. Well, one anyway. His name's Todd, and he is the designer in charge of the physics and handling, and he did the tuning for all the cars. And he is a hardcore racing enthusiast. If there's a racing game out there, he's played it and finished it probably with some of the best times out there. He tuned extreme difficulty. So basically, I think it would be a very, very small percentage of the population that will be able to complete it with a smile on their face. A few more can complete it with their teeth gritted, but it's not meant to be easy, let's put it that way.
Cool. All right, here's one that I can field real quick just because it's popped up from this one guy over and over and over. Where can you get the PC version of the game? You can get it from Origin.com.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we'll just throw that one out there real quick and move on. So I like this question, and I know that you guys have briefly touched on it. It says, I finished the game and loved it. Will Jack be back?
I think there are other stories in Jack's life that would be interesting to tell, but at this point we're just focusing on the run and continuing to improve it and make sure that people are enjoying it. And we'll worry about Jack later. Right now we want to worry about Jack
getting to New York. Chased by the cops down that highway.
Maybe we can get Jack to New York.
Oh,
a couple more
times.
Spoil
something.
Oh, don't spoil it. Okay. Interesting one. Is there any way you can make a racer pack with the cars from Most Wanted? Kind of a cool idea.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, for those that pre-ordered from one specific retailer, which I'm not allowed to name due to legal reasons, I think. Yeah. There is actually a Most Wanted challenge pack that was part of the pre-order process for the game, which allows you to play with a couple of the cars from, a couple of the liveries from Most Wanted, the modern updates of the cars, like the M3, BMW M3 GTS, but with the Most Wanted livery. That's the closest we got right now, but again, we'll hold our tongues on any future plans that we might have at this point.
Yeah, we as you guys can probably see from our car list, we definitely take a lot of inspiration from the Need for Speeds that have come in the past. We have a great real relationship with a lot of the manufacturers, so we love to see this, a lot of the same cars and the latest models come in year over year for our games, and there's a lot of great cars in Most Wanted, and actually there's quite a few of them in our game too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you never know. We always love to look back at the older games and see how we can do a bit of throwback action in the game. So that's not a bad suggestion at all.
All right. What is the best car to use in the game, in your guys' opinion?
Wow. Well, it depends for what purpose. I mean, if you're kicking off the run, there's 5 great cars to choose from if you got the limited edition. I'm partial myself because I'm old to the 240Z Fairlady. I think it's
that's a big fan.
It's a little demon. I love racing that one. And in the latter half of the game, after you get out of Chicago, I am a huge fan of as I've said in the podcast, the Porsche 918 RSR is my go-to.
That one's fast.
That one is ridiculously fast.
If you want to be competitive with your friends, I would recommend taking a strong look at that Porsche in the beginning for you limited edition customers. And at the end, I do like the RSR.
The Aventador is nice too, though.
The Aventador is pretty quick. The Gallardo is also very fast midstream if you haven't decided to change cars as you're driving. So there's a good collection of good cars to use.
Yeah.
All right. The next question that we had is during the demo, when we put out some track tips, we were talking about how you use NOS during the game or during a race, and we said to use it when you have it. Basically, so don't hoard it. Use it when you have it. Would you guys recommend the same thing for multiplayer, or what's the best way to get ahead in multiplayer?
Well, I can offer my personal experience. I'm sure Brian has some.
I think once you have all the driver abilities unlocked, you need to be very smart in how you use the drafting mechanic, because you can kind of use that as a bit of a substitute for NOS. What I've seen a lot of players doing that have been beating me, unfortunately, is I've been playing multiplayer, They do tend to hold a bit of NOS in reserve toward the end of the race, because what we've been seeing is there's a lot of close finishes, and then guys really try to use the drafting as they come by. But if you don't have the NOS to go with it, you may not necessarily finish it off. So I think it's wise to always have a little bit in the tank, unless you're really trying to make up some ground if you wrecked or you fell behind. It's not a bad idea just to keep some in reserve and then only use it as you need.
Yeah, my personal preference with NOS is I don't like using it unless the bar's half full, because when you're spamming when there's only like a little bit, it gets a little bit much. But the true secret, especially if you're playing online, is look for the shortcuts and look for the oncoming lane, especially when you have those driver abilities unlocked, because you will fill up your NOS bar much faster. And as Brian says, keep half a tank in reserve just before the finish line. If you
always be a mad dash to the finish. It's always good to have some extra.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna quickly jump in here and tell everybody who's submitting questions that we're not going to be answering any questions about a potential Underground 3 or Most Wanted 2. I've seen tons of those questions. You're not going to answer them. Stop asking. How many cars are there in total in the game?
Oh wow, that's one of those.
And I asked this because on the website we posted the car list of the base cars.
Yeah.
And pretty much every car has a signature edition.
Need for Speed edition.
Need for Speed
yeah,
edition.
exactly.
So
it's well, I mean, downstairs in our offices we've got we did a printout actually of every single variation of every single car.
You want me to run down and count them really quickly?
If you could. Like I think as far as base cars, we're at about between 65 and 75 base cars, and then there's variations on a lot of those. There's no official number, quite frankly, but I know that our number, when you add in every paint option, every body kit, or customization kit, and then the liveries that are associated with those, the NFS editions, the K&N, all those special editions of the different cars, I know that you could look at over 1,800 cars in the game.
I think it's definitely over 150 in terms of just total the variants of vehicles in the game overall. So we have quite a selection, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Okay. What cars do you guys drive in real life?
I love that question. All right, I'll come clean. I drive a 2006 Chevy Silverado pickup truck because
Silverado all the way.
I have a house and I have renovations to do, which is why I have a truck. However, I have a 1973 Opel GT two-door sports coupe. That is my kind of beat around in the summer fun car, and I also have a 1965 Mustang, which I have been trying to restore for about 14 years, and one day I will get it done. Brian?
I drive a 2008 Scion XB, so they don't have a lot of those up in Canada, and people really kind of looked at me strangely as I was driving around up here when I had it. I still drive it to this day, and everyone calls it a toaster, but it's a great little car. It gets good gas mileage. It looks cool and distinct, so I love it.
And it looks like a toaster.
It does look like a toaster.
Yep.
Looks like a toaster. That's awesome that you have a Silverado. Silverados are awesome. Okay.
I won't tell you what the other car is.
Okay.
It's a minivan.
What other car? On the subject of cars, what other cars would you like to see in the run? Not saying we're not saying we're putting them in.
Oh,
it's just if you could have
someone records this and says
if you could cherry pick.
Oh, that we didn't have. I mean, I think our car list is really kind of like the
pretty
dream.
Robust.
Yeah, it's kind of the dream list of cars that we all wanted to drive. So it's not, as far as I'm concerned, there wasn't really anything to be left off the table.
I can think of some European manufacturers I would love to see more represented in the game. Mm-hmm. They'll remain nameless, but absolutely, I think our car list is pretty awesome as it stands. But you definitely can never have enough cars.
I really like the inclusion of, for me personally, because I do like more of the classic cars, and people say classic, they usually assume the the American muscle cars, the Mustangs and the Challengers and stuff, which is great. I love those too. Obviously, I have a Mustang, but I was really, really happy to see like the Lamborghini Miura SV, for example. I love seeing the Skyline, the 3000, the GTR. Like that's the looking one. Like that one's awesome. So I just love our car list. I think it's great. It's kind of something for everybody.
Yeah, I think more classic cars would be pretty sweet. But beyond that, I mean, in terms of modern vehicles, we got pretty much run the gamut. So it's it's hard to think of, aside from a few exceptions and the kicking around in the back of my mind of ones that I would really, really love to see.
Before I forget to, one of my other favorite cars, I just thought of it, GTR.
Okay.
The GTR NFS edition will concuss you. It is so fast in the game.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Really?
Things quick.
I gotta try it out. I haven't tried it yet.
It's wicked.
All right. Next question is, what's your favorite track in the game?
Oh,
That's
boy,
tough.
that is tough. Which is your favorite children? I'm a huge fan of Smoky Mountain in North Carolina.
Do we call it Smoky
Do we call it Smoky?
Mountain?
Actually, it's our, yeah, I'm going to use
That's our internal name
internal
for it.
code names. Yeah, basically the one that you race near the end of the run. It's in stage 9, I believe, in North Carolina with the kind of fall foliage and it's lots of switchbacks. That track is awesome. It's the one where you do the Porsche Attack Challenge Series on.
That's, yeah.
That is probably my favorite technical track in the game for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, that one's definitely up there for me. I do like the track we have at the end of stage 2, where you have all the switchbacks that you go downhill.
Pass.
Yeah, Tioga Pass. That one's a ton of fun.
Yep.
It's a good mix of kind of high-speed turns and obviously a lot of technical turns as well. So that's definitely one of my faves.
San Fran's actually
yeah, San Fran's pretty cool. I also love the level we've got. Where you're passing through kind of the farmlands and there's tons of shortcuts. You have the cornfields is definitely one of the cooler, more iconic tracks we have in the game.
Yep, lots of good ones. But I think that it really speaks to the kind of the breadth of the run for those that have played through it now. Like the fact that you do go from San Francisco to New York and you really do experience the whole breadth of the U.S. Like we just talked about, the hills of North Carolina and the downtown San Francisco and the Rocky Mountains in Colorado and the farmlands in Wisconsin. It's a pretty epic journey. So hopefully, for those that haven't finished the run yet, please get out there and play because it is a blast.
All right. I just got a really good question here.
We'll be the judge of that.
I just published it. What is the best way to handle the switchbacks? I'm losing too much time to filter on them.
Losing too much time to Coulter. Well, maybe Coulter, do you want to come in here and do a special guest?
I'll talk later.
Okay. So my personal, and I'm not an expert to be honest. I'm pretty good at it. You got to brake hard at the beginning. You got to start at the outside. You got to cut hard. I usually do a little tiny tap of the e-brake to get the back end to come out a little bit, and then get right on the NOS as fast as you can. That's my secret.
I think the slow in, fast out's not a bad mantra to follow. Brake early, turn in, hit the apex. You got to be a bit gentle with, especially the car you're driving, when you get on the gas, because the back end might kick out if you're, say, driving something like the Super Snake or something like that. Yeah. Then give it a good goose and nos once you're straightened out.
All right. I want to just make a comment there because I use a completely different approach.
All right, bring it on.
I drop a knee brake way before, so I'm already sideways going into it, and as soon as I hit basically the apex, I just lay on the NOS and it just shoots right.
So there's a
back
reason
up.
I'm ahead of you on all the speedballs?
You're not ahead of me. I got mine right here. I'll show you. I can show you mine. I'm putting up the TV.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, here's the other one that I published, and I'm not sure whether I meant to or not. Is there any way to be able to drive any car in the story mode rather than the specific class entitled to a level?
No, not for the run. The whole idea with the run is that it is meant to be a scripted sort of Hollywood experience, and we tune the races around the class of cars that are available within the run. The nice thing about the run, though, for those that haven't tried it, is that most racing games kind of start you with a tier 1 fairly slow car to kind of get your training wheels and figure out how to start to handle the cars and learn to drive faster. We kind of throw all that out the window, and we start you right away with tier 4 cars. And the whole idea was that we didn't want you to feel like you had to drive I won't name any manufacturers, but you had to drive a 4-cylinder 1.3 liter engine car for a while before you could drive some of the bad boys. So for us, we tuned the run to be about getting behind the wheel of something powerful right away and having fun, and that's why you're in the class cars that you are. I
would also mention that if you go through, after you've replaying the run, say using the stage select, you are able to sort of pick from the larger gamut of the tier 4 cars or tier 5 cars depending on what stage you're in, than you would be just the first time through. So there's a wide variety of cars to be played in the run, but like Jason said, we do make sure that they all sort of live within the performance tiers in order to keep the game working as we intended.
Exactly.
Okay, here's
I got time for one more, and then I'm gonna have to roll out of here. But Brian will still be here for a little while, so.
Sign him up.
I'm signing him up. Brian's got questions. You got questions. Brian's got answers.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. So this one is, I like the idea of the speedball, but in the future, could we have global leaderboards as well? I think we do, don't we?
In this game, actually, we don't have any global leaderboards because Autolog obviously is super friend focused, so everything is really centered around you and your competition versus your friends. I could see a return of global leaderboards to the game in the future. I think the context of how we surface those and what they mean in terms of how we're measuring everyone globally against everyone else. We'd need to make sure the game supported that. I don't know that the run does entirely on its own, especially with all the centering around the social competition with your friends. But it's certainly something I could see in the future in terms of having global leaderboards for people to compare. So yeah, not a bad suggestion.
Absolutely. Cool. I think the thing with Autolog and the reason it was really created was that for people who aren't Coulter, you're going to be 10,000th or 20,000th on the world leaderboard, and really what's inspiring you to try and get to 19,963rd, as opposed to, well, I'm second amongst my friends that play, and that's really what the motivation is for racing. So for those people that are at the top of global leaderboards, like Coulter, obviously, congratulations to you. I know I will never be up there, so that's kind of where Autolog drives us.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
Stick around for one more question?
Sure, I'll stick around for one more. I got one more. I didn't really get to answer that one, so.
Okay, I like this one. I love the soundtrack made by Brian Tyler and also the other songs. How did you choose the songs?
Oh, that's a good question. We have a really talented audio group here, and a lot of people that are in the design group that are responsible for the style and tone of the game. And one of the things that we wanted to do with the music was something a little bit unexpected and different than what you've heard in Need for Speeds in the past, which is sort of choose a few songs from every sort of genre and throw them in there to try and please everybody. And for us, we wanted to really stick to a theme for the game, and the idea of the cross-country run, the kind of Americana around that, there's sort of a gritty, sort of dirty rock and roll kind of feel to it, and that's what kind of started us off on our journey in terms of finding the artists that we worked with, culminating obviously with the Black Keys. For those that don't know, we actually debuted the new Black Keys single, Lonely Boy, in a trailer for our game, and it is in the game before it was heard anywhere else. So essentially, when our game came out, the album's not even out yet. We were able to work with Black Keys and lots of other great artists to have, I think, what is pretty memorable soundtrack. And
I don't know. It feels like the kind of music I'd listen to if I was on a cross-country drive.
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
I think it does a great job of really selling and reinforcing the theme of what the run is about.
Yep.
And like Jason mentioned, our audio guys are just top-notch, super talented, and they have a great ear for finding awesome music to put in the game.
Yep. Sweet. Cool. Well, I'm going to run. I just want to say, to the community, thank you so much for your support so far, and thanks for getting out there and buying and playing the run, and hopefully see you online soon. And
cool.
I'll pass it off to Brian.
I just want to say before you take off out of the frame, we are getting a lot of guys that are saying things like, "Thanks, guys, great game."
Awesome. We really appreciate it. You guys are the reason we do what we do. So thanks a lot.
Keep playing it.
All right, cheers, guys.
See you, Jason.
All right, guys.
CJ.
And now the show begins.
All right, now we can really get into it. I'm just gonna try to.
All right.
I'll stay up.
I'll scoot over.
All right, cool.
Come on, Drew.
All right.
Your fans want to see you, buddy.
What's up, guys? Here, maybe we can just do this. Get Coulter in frame a little bit too.
Move my knee.
Can you see Coulter's knee? Maybe. All right. Okay, so we have a couple more questions lined up. I like this question because we can drop a subtle hint about some stuff in the game. Will we be able to find any Battlefield 3 Easter eggs in the run?
Easter eggs in the run.
So maybe not Battlefield 3.
Maybe not. Maybe not. There might be a few others. You got to keep your eyes peeled as you're driving around. Maybe jump into photo mode here and there if you can, and take a look around, see what you see, the scenery around some of the levels.
And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay. How much effort did you put into deciding the specific route of the run?
How much effort do we put a fair amount of thought into it. Obviously, it's not a complete straight shot if you were to kind of map it over the map, but we definitely, as we were trying to decide, what tracks we were going to be inspired by, which ones we were going to try and replicate, they're going to be great drives. We try to make sure that we pieced those together, and we picked a route that was going to result in the most fun and sort of dynamic and diverse driving experience. And so we spent a ton of time figuring out what tracks do we want, what do we want the route to be, how do we make all that line up. and tie together in an awesome action-packed end-to-end race.
Cool. Okay, so this one, why is there very limited cars in the run? So I imagine this guy's talking about some cars that you get from the Wheel of Fun, or hitting like driver level 30 and such cars.
Well, yeah, I think I'm not 100% sure, but it sounds like a two-part question to me. But yeah, I think we mentioned it before. The cars that we do have available in the run itself are specific because they're sort of performance tuned to work within the run story experience. In terms of the other cars, we just have a ton of different cool limited edition type cars that we've built, and just in terms of their liveries, their kits, and sort of their setups that are sort of those cool rare rewards that you get by playing the multiplayer, by playing through the challenge series, by going back and trying beating the game on extreme mode. It's just how we sort of add and build on the sort of metagame that we like to call it, and keep you guys playing for as long as possible.
Cool. Sorry, I was just reading this one question. It's actually really good. No, it just took a couple seconds for me. All right, so this one is, what references did you use for the streets, as this is the first NFS game to use real location?
Well, obviously all the cities you guys drive through in the run we had a lot of reference of. We set some of our art team out on a little road trip early on in the project so they could gather a lot of reference, and we make sure that as you're driving through those cities like San Fran and Chicago and obviously New York, that it feels like you're in those places and it feels real, and we replicate sort of the visual experience of being there as much as possible. So we definitely focus a lot of our time around gathering reference and sort of the key cities, Las Vegas included. Almost forgot Las Vegas. But yeah, it was a huge part of our art team's process as we figure out how we're going to build the game and build all these tracks, and making sure that we have really, really good, high-resolution, good-looking reference of all the locations we're trying to replicate.
All right, so I was just sitting. Okay. What made you guys think of making the action sequences in the run?
Yeah, so I think the primary motivation for us is that we kind of feel that people like to play and be a part of the story as opposed to watch the story being told to them. That's probably the main reason. We just felt like it was more exciting to just be in the action as this stuff is unfolding versus, oh, okay, you finished a race, stop, now there's an extended cutscene, okay, now I'm racing again. And that was probably one of the primary motivations. And the second one is that we wanted it to feel, kind of like a non-stop experience. We don't want you to put down the controller. We want you to sort of be immersed in the experience of the run from start to finish. And that's a good way for us to sort of segue between, you having to switch cars or, introducing more elements of the narrative without having to, like I said, just completely stop the experience and then sort of cut to this non-interactive sort of mode. And it just keep you guys engaged in the action the whole way.
Cool. Let's see it. It seems like everyone is picking the M3 as their car to start off with in the run. Which one did you pick?
If I have a limited edition, which I do, thank goodness, I picked the Porsche because I like the mix of acceleration and handling that it has.
Mm-hmm.
I think the M3 is a great selection as well. And like Jason mentioned, if you're nostalgic for that 240Z, you can use that. It really just comes down to what your preference is. They're all sort of really competitive with each other, but I personally I love the Porsche. It just handles great. It's super fast. It's an awesome looking car. It's classic. It's just a great Porsche.
It is really good for those corners in the first level.
Totally.
I really like it. All right. Here's an interesting question. Is why always American roads, American stories, American settings? Other places in the world have history of racing, legal or not. Maybe in the future would we see something international?
You never know. I mean, I think we've had some tracks from Japan in previous Need for Speeds. Maybe it was Pro Street. Yeah. My memory is a little fuzzy.
Pro Street Shift, they had
I think we've definitely gone all around the world in those games. But in terms of the games where it's more of the story-based stuff, you're right. We've kind of been focused around North America, or what have been sort of feeling like North American type cities. So I think depending on how we do the run, and if it's super successful and it's feeling like you guys are really into the theme of what the run is about, you never know. We may decide to find ourselves on a new continent, who knows? I mean, it's really going to come down to what's going to make for the coolest game experience, and that's where we'll try to center it.
Okay. Why are there no cops online?
Why are there no cops online? It's kind of one of a function of those things that Jason mentioned earlier about the challenges in terms of the technology and whatnot. But we wanted to make sure, number one, that the online experience was super approachable. And it was easy for players to get in, and so we kind of tackled that as sort of our number one priority. Let's make it easy for players to get into sessions. Let's make it easy for them to hook up with their friends and race, and start with sort of racing as the center. If we had a lot more time, I would love to get the cops more involved and had a bit more of that action, of course. But for us, like I said, I think our priority we started with was let's make it really easy to get into, accessible multiplayer experience, and that starts with racing before cops, in our opinion. But the cops absolutely can help amp up the action, and I think there was a previous question. You never know, it may find its way into the game. Who knows?
Okay. Let's see, what other questions do I have on hold? So I like this question just because we can talk to it from a technical point of view.
Sure.
How will the run impact future Need for Speed titles?
Sure. So the run, obviously, you guys, we've talked about this a lot. This is the first Need for Speed we've made on the Frostbite engine, the new Frostbite 2 engine that we've been working with DICE on, and they ship Battlefield 3 on. So I think in terms of, technologically, we have this awesome engine now that we've built a lot of the underpinnings and the foundations of a driving game into. So that's going to be a huge thing, and that's going to influence a lot of the Need for Speed titles we see in the future. I expect we're going to continue to leverage it for sure. I think in terms of some of the risks we took in trying to do something unexpected with how we're interweaving the action and the story and the driving, it might have an influence on future Need for Speeds for sure. And we'll see what do people like, what did they like not so much, and gather all that feedback and figure out, okay, how do we do it better? How do we amp it up for the next games? And so it's definitely something that it's going to influence all the future Need for Speeds down the line.
Cool. I'm just going to look for the next question real quick.
Sure.
All right, here. Which one did I have here? Okay. So I like this question just because so many people are so passionate about Need for Speed. I always have ideas for NFS games. How could I become part of the dev team? I think maybe just tell a little bit about what it takes to be in the gaming industry itself. Yeah, well,
kind of there's a few different routes in, and I mean a lot of the guys that we have working on our team, they've come in sort of in terms of their education and the disciplines that they focused on, whether it's like software engineering or if it's like game design. A lot of the guys have gone to schools for game design. In terms of our artists, obviously they're all typically on average, very highly trained in terms of their art skills and getting a lot of the, experience and exposure to the tools that we use in making the games. So depending on, what part of the game creation process interests you the most, or where you feel your talents lie, that kind of determines the road you need to take to get in. One of the more classic routes that I know a lot of guys have taken that I've worked with through the years, they actually started in quality assurance. They started in QA. They test the games. They really sort of get your foot in the door and seeing how the games are made, how you're testing them, and you really sort of immerse yourself in kind of the development process. And I've seen a lot of guys that have come from QA and made their way into sort of development and production as well. But depending on what your interests are, your development, you can definitely can focus your education on things that could get you a foot in the door in the games industry in terms of the art side of things, in terms of the game design side of things. There's a lot of schools and opportunities out there to get schooled up on that stuff.
Awesome.
So maybe one more question and we're good.
Cool. One more question. All right. Well, then let's make this one a good one. Did you ever think of maybe making a co-op run?
I would admit that I think that's one of the cool things that we've always had in mind, and I think if we would have had a lot more time that we could have built in every single feature we dreamed of, I bet you co-op would have been in that list. Because I think the run just even on your own is incredibly exciting, but just imagine if you're teamed up with a buddy or a couple of buddies and you're racing cross country. I think it sounds like a great idea, and I would love to see it in this one, but you never know. it may come back. It may be in a future game. Cooperative modes are super popular, and they're really effective ways to get people kind of engaged in the multiplayer experience. So it's definitely something we're going to consider for future titles, no doubt.
Cool. Well, thanks for taking the time, chatting
No
with us
problem.
on Friday afternoon.
No problem.
Awesome to get you out, and we'll let you get going then.
All right, guys. Have fun playing the game. We'll see you online.
Yeah, so Coulter and I are going to just answer a couple more questions that have come up, some of the more technical ones. See you, Brian.
I'll take this one. I don't want to wear that 10-gallon hat.
Oh, yeah. Put it on.
Get these off-topic questions going.
Okay, so... Nice. Where's the
It's a good
Viking
look.
hat?
It's all the way over there.
Ah, someone throw me the Viking hat. Hey. All right. Okay, guys. What we wanted to do here quickly for a couple minutes was just answer some of the more technical questions that have come in with Jason and Brian. We wanted to just talk about the run generally. This one, we're going to answer some of the more specific questions that have come in. We're going to start off with this one. It says when you for the nice. Okay. For the week, for this first week, when you downloaded and installed the run from Origin, it would install an extra 1.5 gig update, and then before you were able to play. So what was happening was it was actually what you were downloading was a language pack, which was basically downloading and installing all the languages that the run is available on. This has been fixed. If you download from Origin right now, it will no longer download that pack. Yep. So. Cool.
That's all taken care of, right?
That is,
Cool.
It's done. So you won't get that anymore.
What else we got?
I'll field this one too. Is Origin needed to for the run too? You need Origin for the first time when you install and the first time you run the game. After that, you won't need to be in Origin anymore.
Correct.
Correct. All right, Coulter, maybe you can take this one.
Cool.
Why is the career story so short? So
that's an interesting way of putting it. The career mode, just the time that Autolog records can be interpreted as short, but the amount of time you're actually playing is somewhere in the range of 6 to 10 hours, depending on how fast you are, which is a fairly decent career when it comes to single player mode. But so what that time that's taking into account is just your time racing, not your resets, not the cutscenes, not any of the time you're spending in the menu, but just your racing time. So when you finish the run and it says, what was your time in the run? 2 hours and change?
2 hours 9 minutes. I think.
2 hours and 9 minutes. That's not the entire career.
Yeah, I did not play 2 hours and 9 minutes to finish it. It took a while.
It's not like you picked up the game at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're finished at 4. So there's definitely more to that. And then also you've obviously got challenge series and autolog and online multiplayer to keep it going after that, even after you finish the career. What else we got?
Okay. Sorry, just some funny comments.
What's up, Jigsy? NFS Jigsy down in Australia.
We see your questions,
Yep.
yeah. Okay, so here's one question from guest, and they ask, would it be possible to make
The run 1.5.
The run 1.5 with all 3,000 miles. So guys, this just to give you a quick of reference, Need for Speed The Run has more track in it than any other Need for Speed
It's
ever.
almost twice as big as Hot Pursuit's map, right?
Yeah, and Hot Pursuit was the biggest ever.
Yeah.
So it's almost twice as big as the next biggest one. It took us over 2 years to get that done. So imagine having to build 3,000 miles of track. I mean, we'd be working on this for 10 years. That is never going to happen.
I don't see it happening in this.
And quite frankly, like, if you think about the gameplay of that, like, I wouldn't want to spend 400 or 500 miles driving across the plains. To be quite honest.
Not that the planes aren't beautiful, right?
Well, they are beautiful,
but
but
it's
it's
kind of just a straight shot,
yeah.
and you would just be sitting there holding the accelerator while stuff was going by.
Yeah. Okay.
What else we got?
All right. So this one from Jack, and he's asking what kind of patches are we going to be coming out with. So we came out with the day one patch on Xbox 360 and PS3. That's out. They're available for download now. If you haven't downloaded them, please go to the Xbox Live Marketplace or PlayStation Store to download them. Fixed a couple bugs that we wanted to fix before you guys got your hand on it. We have a PC patch in the works, as Jason and Brian were talking about. So the reason why the PC is delayed is because there's basically an infinite amount of different configurations that you can have for a PC, and we wanted to make sure that we took the time to kind of collect the community's feedback. So if you go to our forums, which you can get to from needforspeedtherun.com, you can see that we've got bug report threads set up where you can officially submit your bugs, and we are looking at every single issue that's being submitted into that, and then we want to address the most severe, most critical, make sure that everything that we haven't found is found and in the patch. So,
and just to follow up on that, we see every single comment you guys are writing on our Facebook wall and our Twitter page, and in our forums.
Yeah.
So, I mean, anywhere you guys are seeing Need for Speed and commenting, we're actually reading them. Myself, Drew, NFS Petra. I mean, the entire community team. We've read all your comments.
Go
ahead.
So even the dev team has a team that they've dedicated to being in the forums and on the channels, recording everything that's being reported as in terms of a bug, and then checking them out and investigating them. So.
So thank you guys very much for reporting them in the first place and giving your feedback as well.
Taking the time out of your day. I mean, we really appreciate it. So, all right. Next question. Just want to throw this one out there. Do you get anything for beating the run on Extreme? You have to beat it to find out.
Good answer.
Yeah. Leave it at that. Next one is we've seen a whole lot of questions about DLC that you guys have come through. A lot of really good suggestions too. Actually, while you were doing this, I was writing it down, and I'm going to send one off to Jason and Brian there for some of your suggestions. But this one here, are we gonna get special challenge packs, guys? We just launched the game. That's what we've been primarily focused on. We're gonna see what we can do at this point. So. I mean, we don't really know at this point what's going to happen.
We don't know this.
Yeah. So, but thank you for your suggestions. You guys keep them coming, and who knows, right? I'm going to have to. All my questions that were on hold are now published.
I would like to answer my question about taking switchbacks fast in the game.
Okay.
Since I was off camera, somebody asked what's the quickest way. All right, let me rock the Viking hat.
No, I'll rock my loser too.
All right. Somebody asked what's the quickest way to take switchbacks in the game. And I find it depends on the environment you're in. If you're in the snow, hug the inside of the corner and get on the powder that's on the inside of the turn. Don't stay on the road or anywhere wide. Get extra slow before the corner and just seriously go right up along the inside wall of the turn and then just blast on the NOS on the way out of it. If it's dry and you're on asphalt, I found the best way to do it is pretty much go in like a madman. Tap the e-brake to get the car turned. Tap it. Don't hold the e-brake, but just tap it to get the rear wheels loose. And I try and give it just the right amount of speed going into it to where I'm not exactly it's not wall riding. You go back. You take it so the trunk of the car hits the back wall and bounces you back off and shoots you off. Yeah, that's an advanced tip.
Yeah, but I generally pass you when you're wearing switchback, so.
Yeah,
just throwing
check our online records. Go on Autolog, compare us.
Alright,
what else we got?
Okay, so. Is there ever going to be the ability for users to play as cops?
We do have cop cars in the game.
We do have cop cars in the game, yeah.
And a taxi cab.
Guys, again, good suggestion for DLC. Maybe one day. Okay, this one guy, don't call me a Gran Turismo fan. Can we add some old cars from the 90s for DLC? Again, more suggestions for DLC, guys, and I think.
We do have those pre-order packs that have traditional some of the favorite NFS series cars in them. So we got Most Wanted, Carbon, and Underground. What else we got?
All right, so here's a good one. Where should we inform the game team of the dev team about game bugs? On the Need for Speed forums, there's 3 different threads set up for 360, PS3, and PC bugs. That's where you can report them. We do, like we were just saying, we do have a team looking at those every day. So please, if you guys have something to report, do it there. And I will note that is not a forum for subjective feedback. We have another thread for that. That is just purely for bugs. Alright, looking here. Oh, here's a nice little comment here. No question, just thank you. NFS games are awesome for us old folks.
You're welcome, Bo Bogard.
Yeah.
Glad you like them.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, a lot of the questions that we're getting here now are just still DLC sort of stuff.
And questions we've already answered or that Brian and Jason answered.
I actually, here's an interesting question. So, would it be possible to integrate your time on Xbox 360 PC? I think what you're asking here is there ever going to be any cross-platform
like a universal time
comparisons? Yeah. Unfortunately, not. We are not allowed to do that as per Microsoft and PS.
Yeah, that's kind of a first-party thing that keeps us from doing that. We definitely wanted to, and it's been in the plans before. But that's first-party. Yes, like as Drew said, Sony and Microsoft don't really want us doing that.
Okay.
Jigsy.
Okay, when Jigsy again throwing some conversation steers here. When are we doing the next All Night session? We're doing it right now. Actually.
Yeah, it's going on right now. So as soon as we finish the Slab Chat, we're getting back on the game. You can add both of us, NFS Drew and NFS Coulter, and we're going to be gaming. It's what time is it right now? Almost 5:30. So we've got another. I can't do that math, but 14 hours left.
15 hours.
15 hours left.
14 and a half hours. Yeah.
So we're going to be gaming constantly, and if you don't add us, just keep playing because we're just going to be hopping in and out of sessions, going to different rooms and stuff that you guys are playing in. So if our friends lists are full, we're constantly sweeping them, trying to make sure we've got room open. So definitely add us, and if you don't, just keep playing, and we'll probably at some point maybe end up in your room.
Cool. I like this question, and I'm not really going to be able to answer it, but. So with the driver abilities that we have in the game, why didn't you guys add the ability to slow down time? So what you're talking about is Speed Breaker.
Yeah.
From previous Need for Speeds. Yep. That's a really good question. I wish you guys had. I wish I had an answer for you. I just wanted to publish it out there because I like the concept of this.
Yeah.
In the run, especially around those switchbacks would be cool. But I don't know. I just like the question though, so I wanted to publish it. It would be really interesting. Obviously, it would never be in online, but it would. I wonder what it would do for your race times. Would you use it, Coulter?
Yeah, I definitely use a speed breaker. So I think it's a cool feature and something worth looking into in future titles.
Yeah, maybe DLC or something.
Yeah,
who knows? All right. Okay. Okay, so maybe we can just quickly speak to this. Actually, I've got some on hold.
Go back.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, guys. One sec. Which one are you pointing at? We're not going to answer that one.
Oh, wow. That's so funny.
You got to answer that question.
That's so funny. Just go for it.
All right. We'll just say yes.
Yeah, go for it. Yes, love NFS. Yes is the answer. I'm not going to go into any more detail, but yes, the answer. I was on TV at one point. Unless it's one of you guys back there asking that Spiro and yes. That's funny. That's really funny. Well done.
All right, guys. On that note, we're going to end with this one question, and it says. How can I check your video from the start for those of you guys that joined in late? We're going to be republishing this to our YouTube channel as soon as we can get the video. And then we'll post it up, and just keep an eye on our blog or Facebook or Twitter, and we'll post up the link. So
cool.
Guys, thank you very much for joining in. We had some really good questions. It was really good. Thanks, Jason and Brian, for coming out as well.
Cool, guys. True.
So,
always.
All right. See you guys.
Get gaming with us right now. Go on,
jump
for the next
online.
15 hours.
Yeah.
All right, so come play with the run with us.
See ya.
See ya.